We have a new analogy. If you've been listening to us for a while, it may not seem new to you, but it's new enough that we want to give it to you here in case you haven't heard it, because it will provide for you a very wonderful basis of everything else that's going to unfold in this discussion today. Esther has a pond at the center in Texas, and the water was getting cloudy, more and more so, until you couldn't see the fish. She didn't know what had caused it, but she remembered when you could see the fish. And so people came and provided their opinions. Let's replace the filter, which they did, the pump and the filter. It didn't change anything. Let's put clarifier into it, which killed fish but didn't clear the water. So it was determined that the water was being drawn from the pond into the filter through pipes in the ground, and it was being filtered, but when the water was being put back into the pond, those pipes were clogged, completely clogged. Texas has a very hard caliche soil, becomes almost concrete-like, and those pipes were full of that. So over time, they just clogged up. So they laid some new pipes on top of the ground just to see if that really would solve the problem. And of course it did. The pond cleared right up. And so they buried the pipes, and today the pond is very clear. We want to suggest to you that you may want to lay some new pipes for yourself, because you've been collecting debris in your pipes for a while, little by little by little. So gradually you didn't even know you were doing it. But your pipes aren't clear, and so sometimes. And when your pipes aren't clear, then even though you're asking for what you want, and the universe is orchestrating and supplying the mechanism and the means and the direction for you to have whatever you want, no exceptions. If you are not in a vibrational state of allowing what you've asked for and what has been vibrationally prepared for you, then when your filter, your vortex, pushes that desire toward your pond and your pipes are all clogged, you say something's wrong. And we say something is out of balance. You've got beliefs that don't vibrationally match the desire. We've been talking to you about the vibrational nature of your being. But most of our physical friends are not so interested in their vibrational nature, and we want you to be intensely interested in your vibrational nature. In fact, there is nothing more important for you to be interested in than your vibrational nature. Because as you offer a vibration, because you think a thought, and you allow that thought to continue long enough, 17 seconds, that law of attraction joins it with another thought, then a momentum begins that equals your point of attraction. And literally, absolutely, unerringly, everything that comes to you, everything that you let into your experience is because of that vibrational pattern that you have established and practiced and perfected. Now, all the time that that's happening, you are sifting through the variety of your life, perceiving, concluding, opinionating, and all of that is good. And as you come to your perceptions, as you sift and sort, I know what I don't want, I know what I do want, you launch these vibrational rockets that don't manifest instantaneously because they don't have enough momentum. They are rockets that are not practiced by you very often. They're rockets that you shoot out in the middle of exploration of variety and contrast. It isn't until you practice that thought that you establish a strong enough point of attraction or a strong enough momentum that it becomes dominant in your experience. So there are two things that are happening to you all day, every day. You are establishing momentum without knowing you are. You are launching rockets and establishing momentum. But you are also offering contradiction to that vibration that is disallowing the momentum that you've established of coming to you. So you were source energy before you came into this physical body. And even though a part of that consciousness focused into this magnificent physical body that is you, that larger part that is you, that source energy part, that God force part, remains non-physically focused and is available to you and flowing to you all day, every day. But your pipes might be clogged and you might not be letting it flow on this subject and this subject and this subject. So source knows who you are and what you want, and is flowing consciousness and direction and impulses and love and energy and power and invincibility, pouring that all to you. The question is, are you in a vibrational place that you are receiving it or not? So over time, we've broken this into 3 steps. We want you to understand that you're sifting through the contrast and you're asking all day, every day. That's step 1. Ask for what you prefer. Step 2 is not your work. Step 2 is the source within you, your inner being, that larger non-physical part of you, becomes the vibrational equivalent of what you have asked for. In the moment that you ask for it, and each thing that you ask for later, each amendment to desire that you offer goes into this spinning vortex. We want to demonstrate it here in this pure high vibration. Goes into this spinning vortex, and in that high flying, pure positive energy vortex, all that you have asked for already is. In other words, that larger part of you has become it. Now, this is where our physical friends get freaky, because it is so annoying to hear that everything that you want already is, because you want it to be is right here where you is. You want it to be here where you be. You don't want it to be off in some nebulous, non-physical, ghost-like atmosphere. We get that. But we just want you to know that the steps to the process are, you ask and it becomes vibrationally first. And then you must find a way to be a vibrationally equivalent to what you're asking for. But you don't do that easily, because you've been practicing your observation of what is with such intensity and with so much drama and trauma and with so many people telling you, can't you see what is? Can't you see what is? Can't you see what is? That it's hard for you to hear someone like us say, never mind what is. Instead of noticing what is, let what is have been the bouncing off place for what really is, and now you try to find vibrational alignment with what really is, and then it will really, really, really be what is. You must become interested in the vibrational reality that you've created, because if you're not aware of it and interested in it and practicing consistently the vibration of it, you cannot achieve your point of attraction. You cannot get your point of attraction moving with the same momentum, in the same vibration, with the same velocity of what you've asked for. And until you do that, it's going to bounce right out of your experience. It cannot come to you unless you are a vibrational match to it. So the big key is, how can I be a vibrational match to abundance when I'm living the absence of abundance? How can I be a vibrational match to clarity when I'm standing in a state of confusion? And the answer to that question is, you've got to understand that it's a vibrational experience, not an observational experience. You've got to figure out how you can offer a vibration that is different from your observation. Or you've got to figure out how to observe with more specific, deliberate clarity of focus. So that's what we'll be talking about here today. You are deliberate creators? Well, maybe. Sometimes. You are the creator of your reality? Absolutely. You create some of it by default? For sure. You have the ability to be deliberate in everything you create? Absolutely. And by the end of this gathering, you will understand fully how to go about that. So, here you stand in your physical body, sifting and sorting and asking, doing step 1 so effectively, as individuals and as collective consciousness. And the evolution of all species is about exactly that. Contrast inspires you to want more. So source becomes vibrationally a part of what you have become, and establishes a vibrational frequency that you can never separate yourself from. And you can tell that that vibrational frequency exists because you have emotions that tell you that it does. When you feel elation, that's your indicator that you're right now in perfect resonance with that vibrational frequency. When you feel frustration, that's your indication that you are not in perfect resonance with that frequency, but you're not so far off from it. When you feel hopeful, you're closer to that frequency. When you feel love, you're right smack dab in the middle of it. When you feel clarity, when you feel elation, passion, you're right up to speed. When you feel despair, when you feel fear, you're really far away from that vibration. So this is a very important thing to understand. You've launched the rocket and it is part of you. And that source energy part of you from which you came, who always holds you in constant awareness, is holding the vibrational frequency of your greatest becoming, of your furthest most expansion. But if you don't get up to speed and stay up to speed with that expansion, then you feel the gap. And that's what negative emotion is. So once you understand this, now it will be easier for you to understand how simple your work really is. It's so much more simple than you have believed it to be. You've been working pretty hard at life. You observe things wanted and things unwanted, and you sift them into piles. Don't want that. Do want that. And then you try to figure out how to get the wanted piles all around you and the unwanted piles further from you. But what most humans don't understand is that in this attraction-based universe, there's no exclusion. So every single time you give your attention to something unwanted and you say, go away from me, it comes closer. Do you believe that it's possible to move from this really not feeling good disc to this really good feeling disc easily? Do you believe that if you're on the disc that feels like hope, that it would be a fairly simple thing for you to move into an even higher vibration? Do you believe that the source within you is holding consistently that vibration and is calling you to it? Do you believe if you weren't doing that thing you're doing, that it would easily call you to it? Do you believe that negative emotion is your indicator that you're doing that thing you do? Do you believe that in the middle of recognizing that you've got negative emotion, that you can just stop it right then? Because there's momentum. Is momentum good or bad? Momentum is really good when you're on that high-flying disc and really not so good when you're on that low-flying disc. Is law of attraction good or bad? Or just consistent across the board? Do you believe that you have easier access to this high-flying disc when you are speaking generally or specifically? So if you're feeling really bad about something and you begin speaking in really general terms, does the momentum speed or slow? Now, we'll say it again. You're feeling really bad about something. You've got some negative momentum going. If you become more general in your discussion, does the momentum speed or slow? You're so smart. If you are on a really high-flying, good-feeling disc, and you become more and more specific, does that speed the momentum or slow it? Do you want to speed good-feeling momentum? Do you want to slow not good-feeling momentum?